Web3 games have quickly pushed game economies to the forefront of players' minds when evaluating the latest releases. Now more than ever, the need for a well-balanced game economy is critical to any project's future. Machinations is a visual tool specifically built for creating and testing game economies. As a Turing-complete system, the 11 objects allow us to simulate any type of game logic. Let's first have a look at the challenges that Web3 game developers are facing. Here we have an abstract view of the typical core game loop. The player completes an action in the game, they are rewarded, the player then has the opportunity to reinvest these rewards in the game. This could be in the form of unlocking the next level, receiving an amazing new sword, or upgrading the character stats. In Web3 projects, we are adding a new path for players that enables them to exchange some of their in-game rewards with other players. Rather than just thinking about one player's progression, games will have lots of these individual progression systems happening at the same time. As new players join at different times, we can end up with a complex combination of different player economies at different stages all the time. These players can now interact with each other through marketplaces and token exchanges to sell their items or even cash out. Players can also buy items via these marketplaces, adding further complexity for game designers to manage. Now, one player's activity can impact every other player in the system, as well as external influences of changes in the cryptocurrency marketplaces. Machinations are now working with Web3 game developers to enable them to test their game economies before launch, and then consistently monitor their economies for signs of instability. This allows developers to make small, well-tested changes to the game economy to maintain stability well before they get caught in runaway inflation or deflation.
Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So it's our regular monthly roundup of what's been happening in the world of blockchain games, at least in terms of the on-chain activity, so the most popular blockchain games. As ever, I normally break this down into two graphs, so sort of a tier 1 graph and a tier 2 graph. So this is the tier 1 graph. This is the most popular game, so most of the ones that have hit sort of 100,000 daily active unique wallets. So data, as ever, from DAppRadar. And what DAppRadar is doing to create this data is looking at the smart contracts that underpin these games, and is looking at every day how many unique wallets interact with that smart contract. My wallet, I might interact with that sort of game 10 times in a day. That only counts as one unique wallet. Wallets aren't users, obviously. I could have more than one wallet, and for some of these games there would be sort of people running bots, so they may have multiple wallets attached to sort of one individual. So we have to be a little bit careful, not users, but wallets. So I've taken this graph. This is from the 1st of January 2022, so looking at a 4-month period. Go a little bit into May. And what we can see, not really a lot of changes. We've got here Splinterlands at the top. So started the year about 300,000 daily active unique wallets. Has these peaks when its tournament ends. So a lot of activity around the end of the tournament. Again, could be users, could be bots. The higher you rank in the tournament, the more rewards you get. So you tend to get peaks around that every 2 weeks. Dropped off a little bit. You can see the big peak here, but still generally under 350,000 daily active unique wallets there. Thing to point out with Splinterlands is its SPS token airdrop is still going. So that was a year-long token giveaway. So over the next few months that'll be coming to an end. So we'll sort of see what impact that has. Also, Splinterlands has sort of announced it's sort of running its own, going to be running its own blockchain and a whole bunch of stuff going on around that. So sort of quite a lot happening there. Splinterlands running on the Hive blockchain at the moment. In second place, as it has been for most of the year and even into last year, we have Alien Worlds running mainly on the Wax blockchain. There's a bit of stuff on Binance Smart Chain or BNB chain, we should change that to, but only about 1,000 daily active unique wallets on that. So sort of dropping under 200,000. Again with that game, sort of waiting for some features. So there's the PvP, which has been waiting on for about a year now. It was April, I think, when the game went live. And the most of this activity is people just farming out the tokens at the moment. So there's not really a great amount of sort of functionality in terms of gameplay. Whereas Splinterlands look much more, everything's happening, or a lot of stuff on Splinterlands generally is happening on the blockchain there. So obviously we are measuring transactions, so different games set up in different ways to use transactions off-chain and on-chain. but we're measuring on-chain transactions. So here we have a farmer's world running on the Wax blockchain. You can see here sort of this is, I guess, an artifact of how DApp Radar is looking at the smart contract. So this is quite sort of volatile, and that's gone into these much smoother curves. Not quite sure what they've done there. Again, a very basic sort of game, sort of a DeFi game really, where you're sort of staking stuff in for a certain period of time and getting rewards back, and you can sort of upgrade your NFTs and mint new NFTs and stuff. So not particularly outstanding gameplay, but is now over 100,000 daily active unique wallets. So it's sort of this has been steadily growing really, and may getting close to Alien Worlds in second place. In orange we have Crazy Defense Heroes. So this is actually a off-chain. This is like a traditional mobile game from Animoca Brands. At the start of March, during March they had a big token giveaway. So you can see here like a really big increase from about 50,000 daily active unique wallets up to 150,000. They were giving away their Tower token. They've stopped doing that, and obviously it's sort of dropped back down to sort of where it was before, actually a lot lower. The point of what they're doing there is they're giving away this Tower token, and at some point they'll be releasing a new version of the game, which will have be sort of a blockchain game where people will already have these assets, or already have these tokens. So there's sort of like a paper crumbing, or sort of breadcrumbing. Sorry, paper crumbing. Breadcrumbing people with resources, and I think some NFTs as well they're giving away. So when people start this new game, players of the Crazy Defense Heroes games, there's a couple of games, the Tower Defense games, they'll already have some assets to start playing the blockchain games. That's sort of what's going on there, more like a sort of distribution mechanic. And in green we have Axie Infinity running on the Ronin blockchain. This is the on-chain activity. I've got another graph at the end of this actually looking at the off-chain stuff. So as we've sort of generally seen this year, activity for Axie Infinity has dropped off as the token price has gone down quite a bit. Okay, so this is the sort of second tier game. So this is the one sort of under 100,000. So Upland is sort of top of the rest, I suppose. It's come down quite a bit. So Upland is a mobile sort of monopoly type game running on the EOS blockchain, or sort of a version of the EOS blockchain, I suppose. So they are sticking now around 50,000 daily active unique wallets. So come down a little bit. Interesting to see Sunflower Farmers on a Polygon blockchain. So this was a game that sort of broke the Polygon blockchain in its first incarnation, where the smart contract wasn't very well written, and it started getting a lot of bots and basically spammed the entire Polygon blockchain, made it unusable, and they had to take the game down. And they've sort of reworked it now. So that has sort of launched pretty well, just into April, and it's already up to sort of 50,000 daily active unique wallets. Again, a sort of a typical sort of asset farming type game. DeFi Kingdoms in yellow here is on the Harmony blockchain. They've just launched a version on the sort of the Avalanche blockchain. It's a sort of subnet of the Avalanche blockchain. They will be sort of building out that version. Dropped off from about 25,000 daily active unique wallets down to getting on closer to 10,000. As with a lot of these games, the sort of token price has been heavily impacted by current conditions. So we can see here it's really in April where they've dropped down from 25,000 quite a bit. And what else do we have? Pegaxi in green, so that sort of had a strong rise up to the middle of April, and then has sort of come down again. So that's a horse racing game. Quite a lot of people, guilds, are trying to play this. Again, they've had some design problems, had to redesign the game, and also some token problems. So that's sort of come down as well. And I've just put in here Crypto Blades, called it Crypto Blades 2. So Crypto Blades was a game that was very successful on the Binance Smart Chain, or BNB chain as we call it now, but sort of became a sort of pump and dump scheme. They've sort of resurrected it. It's on a few different blockchains now. It's gone multi-chain, and they're getting up to 25,000 daily active unique wallets. So that's quite interesting in the sense that this game, certainly it wasn't a very good game at the start, I think, and they've sort of rejigged it. We've got a version called Crypto Blade Kingdoms, I think, where they're trying to build out the sort of the longevity of the game, rather than it being just a simple token mining game, which it was in the first stages. So all these games are sort of more in the, so I guess, kind of early stages, and some of the other ones we've looked at in the tier one, and we're kind of, what's always interesting, I guess, to see is, can any of these with 20,000, 40,000 daily active unique wallets, can they sort of break out into this sort of range, into the hundreds of thousands? And obviously with these ones, can these ones break out into the millions? So the final graph here, I just sort of, this is over a longer time frame. This is looking at daily active unique wallets on, this is sort of daily active users versus Axie holders for Axie Infinity. So Axie Infinity obviously still the big game in terms of usage. The DAUs here, this is off-chain usage, so not on-chain usage. So remember, if we look here in green, this is their on-chain usage on the Ronin blockchain, so very small, tens of thousands. But even now, people who are playing Axie to get the SLP token, still over 1 million. I mean, it's coming down quite heavily, but still over 1 million people playing that every day. The other graph here in red, this is the wallets holding Axies. So you need 3 Axies to play the game, and you can just look at the Ronin blockchain and see how many wallets there are that hold at least one Axie NFT. And we can see here that there's quite a lot, so 2.5 million wallets still holding these NFTs, even though most people are now no longer playing them, because they don't think the token price is sort of worth it to do. So a lot of assets still there, but it's sort of interesting, I suppose, to show the difference between off-chain and on-chain, and a lot of games as coming forward are sort of will have more off-chain activity, have their core gameplay off-chain like a traditional game, but have obviously some elements on-chain, whether that's sort of DeFi stuff or obviously marketplaces buying NFTs, maybe swapping tokens to do different things in the game. So just something to bear in mind. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World, keeping a track of what's going on. So please subscribe to the channel. See you again.